Success can be dangerous, not failure. Success. Because once an artist finds a formula that works, the safest move is usually to repeat it. The same sound, the same audience, the same identity. But sometimes the biggest risk isn't changing. It's staying exactly where you are. And few artists demonstrate that better than The Weeknd. Because at one point, he faced a decision that could have damaged everything he had built. Instead, it transformed him into one of the biggest artists in the world. When The Weeknd first emerged, he stood out immediately. His music felt different, dark, atmospheric, mysterious. It didn't sound like traditional pop, and that uniqueness became his advantage. Fans connected with the mood, the storytelling, and the identity he created. As his audience grew, so did his influence. But growth creates new challenges. Because success often traps artists inside their own formula. The sound that helps them break through can become the sound people expect forever, and expectations can become limitations. The question was simple. How do you grow without losing the thing that made people care in the first place? The music industry loves categories. Artists are easier to market when everyone knows exactly where they belong. But categories can become cages. For The Weeknd, the challenge wasn't getting attention. He already had that. The challenge was scale. Could he reach a larger audience without sacrificing his identity? Many artists attempt that transition. Some lose their original fans. Others fail to attract new ones. The middle ground is difficult to find. Moving toward mainstream pop carried real risk. The darker sound that defined his early work had become part of his brand. Changing too much could make him feel unrecognizable. Changing too little could limit how far he could go. The next move would matter. A lot. Instead of abandoning what made him unique, The Weeknd began expanding it. The production became bigger. The melodies became more accessible. The visual identity became stronger. But the emotional core remained. That balance was crucial. He wasn't replacing his identity. He was translating it. The goal wasn't to become someone else. The goal was to bring more people into the world he had already created. As new releases arrived, the audience continued growing. Streaming numbers increased, concert venues became larger. His music started reaching listeners who had never engaged with his earlier work. The risk was beginning to pay off, but the biggest test was still ahead. Then came the breakthrough. Songs that crossed genres, global chart success, massive cultural visibility, and eventually, Blinding Lights, a song that became far more than a hit. It became a defining moment, not just for The Weeknd's career, but for modern pop music. What made the moment important wasn't simply the numbers. It was what those numbers represented. Proof that an artist could evolve without abandoning who they were. Proof that growth didn't require starting over. And proof that taking the right risk can be more powerful than playing it safe. The success of The Weeknd helped reinforce an important idea. Artists don't have to choose between authenticity and popularity. The best transformations often build on existing strengths rather than replacing them. His evolution showed that reinvention doesn't always mean becoming someone new. Sometimes it means becoming a bigger version of who you already are. That lesson extends far beyond music, because every creative career eventually faces the same question. Do you protect what works, or do you risk growth? Because sometimes, the move that looks the most dangerous is actually the one that unlocks the future. And for The Weeknd, the risk wasn't changing his sound. The risk was believing it could reach the world.